We are back. I think this is part 3. Yeah, this is part 3. Welcome back. Let's get into it. Let's go.
Song Under Pressure, where Brazy raps about his trials and tribulations both in and out of jail, like spending time in solitary confinement and even getting stabbed in prison. Brazy was also doing shows in Alabama, but problems kept following him, with at least one of these shows seemingly being cancelled due to Brazy's notorious reputation, as Brazy would take to Facebook to vent, calling the police lame and scared, as they had apparently labelled his shows as gang-related. Also, despite Brazy's close ties with the Prince family, he would eventually post that he had not signed with Rap-A-Lot after all, seemingly looking to get into a better position before locking himself into a deal, and saying in a Facebook post that he's got something up his sleeve and that he needs a fire-ass manager since he got this far with no management or promotion. Unfortunately though, just when things were beginning to look extremely good for Brazy's rap career, his deep connections to the streets would ultimately knock him back, as Brazy was later arrested for drug and gun possession, once again breaking the conditions of his probation. That same day, someone would post on his Facebook saying that Brazy would be home soon, but of course, that wasn't the case. And once again, Brazy would be stuck in jail right when he was poised to take his career to the next level. Fortunately though, this time Brazy had at least had music already recorded, and in January 2020, he would release his debut project, the 12-track long Honeycomb Hideout. Interestingly, for whatever reason, Brazy's Facebook is completely clean of any posts during this time he was locked up in 2020. Perhaps this time around he couldn't get his hands on a phone, or maybe he'd rather let the music do the talking. But what we do know is that right before Brazy would be released in early November 2020, he would take another major loss in his personal life, as at around 8:40 AM on the 21st of October, Trayvon Thomas, the younger brother of Brazy's fallen best friend Det, was found shot dead inside his Semler Street apartment, right around Brazy's old stomping grounds in the Happy Hills neighborhood.
So, Ado coming up at Outlaw, and was it Happy Hill with you?
It was just me and Det in Happy Hill.
You and Det?
Yeah, it was just me and Det in Happy Hill.
Oh, that's where everybody be screaming like...
That's sad, bro. He lost his best friend and the brother of his best friend that passed away. Nah, they both gone, man. That's crazy.
Like Honeycomb and everybody?
Yeah,
that's your brother?
Yeah, that's my brother. That's my big brother. Big gangster.
Big gangster.
Yeah, old Det. Rich.
You look gangster.
Yeah, I'm looking. But I ain't no damn gangster. I'm not no more gangster. I'm not no gangster flag. I am a comedian.
The circumstances around his death are still largely unknown, but it seems that Thomas had become a victim of a homicide. Trayvon, better known in Mobile as Trey Baby or Funny Ass Trey Baby, was an aspiring stand-up and social media comedian who had begun to garner a name for himself in Alabama by doing comedy shows around the state, as well as doing sketches on social media. In the song Mind of a Real N-Word, that was released a few months after Trey's death, Brazy would rap how he thinks it's time to leave Mobile due to all of the violence, as well as pointing out how both Trey and Det got killed on the very same street, the Semler Street. Trey's death would hit Brazy hard, and he would later promise to take revenge if he ever found out who was behind the murder. A few weeks after Trey's death, Brazy would suddenly return to his Facebook at the beginning of November, seemingly around the time he was released from jail. But sadly, once again, only a few days after getting out, Brazy himself will become the target of a serious attempt on his life.
Don't get it for real. Don't get it, man. You gotta be petting that bitch out of here. Mama. No, pump,
Dead way.
On the 10th of November, Brazy and his crew were at Montgomery, Alabama, when Brazy would go live on Instagram in good spirits. Unaware that history was about to repeat itself, as it turned out, the people who had recently shot him 8 times were just released from jail. They would allegedly attempt to take him out again in a shooting that was caught on both surveillance video and...
See, that's how you know they probably really wanted him gone for real. That's how you know. That's how you know they probably really wanted him gone for real. They try to end him like that. He shot 8 times, they went to jail, came back and they really tried to end him. That's how you know they really want you gone. If they spin back and try to end you, that's how you know they really want you gone for real. That is sad.
And social media videos. By some miracle, Brazy would survive the ambush without even getting hit, and already that same night, he would post on Facebook, seemingly directly taunting Southall by telling him to get his money back because the hit that he had ordered had failed. Then, 5 days later, Brazy would drop his first single since getting out, the self-titled track called Honeycomb Brazy, along with a music video that starts with a clip from the live when the gunman opened fire. Only about a week after that, Say Cheese would put out their interview with Brazy, where he would open up about the shooting, explaining how he had been at the spot for about an hour getting haircuts with his team before going on live for about 10 minutes when someone opened fire at them.
That day, it went really now. We really slept that whole day. We woke up and we hit the mall. Everybody went and got haircuts and shit. We about to get ready to dip out for real. Everybody just getting together, Then let's popped out, man, and we got right,
So you're on IG live, just doing your thing, enjoying your life. And how long were you posted at that spot?
Like about an hour and a half.
You were on live posted at that spot for an hour?
Nah, I went on live an hour. We were getting our haircut. The whole gang was getting their haircut. So we were there about an hour and a half. But I went live probably like 10 minutes. Some that.
And you know, I could tell you was just vibing. And then you look up and you see the mother who was about to let it off.
Yeah, I see the gun. I ain't see him.
What's going through your mind when that happened?
You know, I'd have been 8 times before. I already got shot in the head, so you know what was going through my mind, goddamn. Yeah.
Brazy would also open up about his experiences in jail, surprisingly revealing that his relationship with No Cap had gone sour due to an incident behind bars.
Alabama's booming right now. You got Rollo, you got No Cap. You know, I've seen you mention his name in the live. You said you with No Cap. What is the relationship like with y'all? You know, because Rollo and No Cap, they're doing their thing. Kind of blew up while you were in jail. Now you're out. A lot of people been wanting y'all to link up and do music.
Like, on some real shit. I don't know what's going on. I out, but you know, it's a little incident happened, you know, and people, I got knocked out in the county jail, you know, and they saying I sent a hit at him, you know, but I don't know how he feeling for real, but I Cap though, like Cap silent, Cap real, you know.
A few days after that, Brazy would drop one of the biggest songs to date, his track, The Truth.
I mean, we really don't know what really happened, you know what I'm saying? We don't really know, you know what I'm saying? Because Honeycomb Brazy ain't No Cap probably do whatever they have, you know what I'm saying? They probably do fuck with each other, but this politics, people just talking and gossip what makes you think, oh, did he really say that or not, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, hey, this is a good documentary. I fuck with it.
Gucci Flow, which is a diss song aimed towards Brazy's ops, particularly DD Southall. A track was clearly inspired by the recent attempts on his life and takes its name from Gucci Mane's legendary 2012 diss song, The Truth, which was aimed towards Gucci's biggest op, Young Jeezy. The song itself is Honeycomb Brazy at his rawest, including nothing more than a simple beat with drums only, and Brazy spitting for 5 minutes straight without a chorus or a break. Brazy begins the track by expressing his frustration towards the fact that he gets locked up every time he gets his rap career moving, and then he immediately starts throwing shots at Southall and his crew, beginning with the famous line, "The biggest rat in the city got some bricks on my head." Brazy would also send shots towards a Mobile-based rapper, YSD Cap, who is known to be close with Southall and has even made music together with one of Stank's brothers called Johnny B, who Brazy even mentions in his old True Story jail freestyle that he recorded after killing Stank in 2016, where he mentions how he used to be so close with Stank's brothers like Johnny.
That's crazy. Stank right there. Damn.
That they had even slept in the same bed together. Brazy would also mention how Southall's shooters shot up his mother's house whilst his sister was inside, with his mother counting 20 bullet holes, and explaining how he's been fantasizing about catching and killing the perpetrators. His issues in the streets, Brazy was making some serious moves in the rap game, dropping numerous music.
That just really seems like they're trying to get Brazy, but they can't get to him. So they really just trying to get the people around Brazy, the people that Brazy hang out with. They're trying to get to them to make Brazy crash out, do something dumb, or catch him lacking. That's what they're really trying to do for him.
Music videos in just a few months' time that all have garnered millions of views. Already in December, he would post how he had bought a $300,000 house for his mother after having only been out of jail for a month, specifically highlighting how he had done it all without a record deal. Brazy was becoming the most buzzing rapper out of Alabama, and it wouldn't take long for him to end up being compared to some of the greats, commonly gaining comparisons with one of the most influential rappers of recent decades, Gucci Mane, which is not just because of their similar appearance, but also more importantly due to Brazy's undeniable ability to drop street anthem after street anthem, which kind of resembles the same run that Gucci Mane had back in the late 2000s when he played a key role in popularizing the trap music sound that went on to define the Atlanta rap scene as well as rap music in general to this day. But moreover, both Gucci and Brazy are known for their notoriety in the streets and having the image that they've really lived what they rap about. However, Brazy, who has pointed out that he can't really be the Gucci Mane of Alabama due to Gucci Mane himself actually being from the state originally, so instead, Brazy has called himself the Gucci Mane of Mobile, highlighting the importance that his hometown at the bottom of the Alabama map has played in his life and career. But as time went on, Brazy was becoming a great in his own right and picking up the attention of industry heavy hitters. Brazy was becoming very close with the Prince family and Rap-A-Lot Records, and at the end of January 2021, Brazy would release a World Star Hip Hop exclusive music video to the song Dead People, starring none other than J Prince himself. And the video featured Brazy toting a golden AK-47 next to J Prince in a Rolls Royce while rapping how he would never let J Prince down. Therefore, it's no wonder that Brazy was even hailed by the hip-hop media as J Prince's new protege, and at one point, he would even have a long Instagram live session with J Prince himself, who is known for generally keeping a pretty low profile and rarely hanging out with rappers. In the video, we could see Brazy rocking a brand new Mob Ties chain and showing fans just how close his personal relationship was with J Prince.
Big homie like this Brazy. That big homie, man. At the gate, they know that. But boy, when he get on here, they light it up.
Hey, y'all see what it is?
That loyalty.
Goddamn loyalty.
For real.
Snitch drank this, he like cough over and die. This ain't for no snitches, this is loyalty. Right here, choke snitch,
Oh shit, I don't even drink it, don't sip it, so you know that loyalty. Like you know that loyalty, man. Look. Then they raw and uncut. Say
crazy. You know what I mean?
Crazy. Y'all know what the going on. Man, it feel good to be living like this though. It feel like fly for real.
You know, it's crazy that I feel like if he just stayed at the jail and just really just focused on the rapping, he could have been big right now. But you know, sometimes when you're in the streets, sometimes you can't really leave the streets because that's what you know. And then people still trying to take your life. People still trying to do this to you and all that. I feel like he just would have focused on the music, do him, you know what I'm saying, move out of like Alabama, move somewhere, not even Georgia, maybe somewhere because Alabama is close to Georgia, so the Oscar can just drive there, you feel me? It'd be LA, somewhere where nobody really knows where he's at, feel me?
For real right now.
But while Brazy's music career was taking off nationally and even globally, and while associating with a major label all the way in Houston, as well as spending time in places like Atlanta, it was his beef in Mobile, Alabama that was still clearly occupying his mind, as Brazy would ultimately open up about the whole city allegedly linking up to take him down. Unfortunately, since Brazy was nowhere to be found, his enemies would go on to target the people closest to him. And what would come next would be one of the most heinous crimes against a rapper that I have ever seen in the whole of hip-hop history.
That's some sucker shit right there. So that killing somebody's grandparents is insane work for real. I'm not gonna lie, it's insane work. Insane work.
By 2021, Honeycomb Brazy was one of the most notorious figures in the streets of Alabama. His iconic freestyle was picking up steam, having racked up 24 million views by January the 15th, 2021, and the December 2020 assassination attempt on him was still going viral. And his newest song, Brazy, released in January 2021, was getting mainstream acclaim, receiving a Billboard article shouting it out, proving Honeycomb Brazy was taking steps towards cracking the industry. However, unfortunately, in the streets, he was even more infamous, and those people who had been trying to kill him for years now were getting frustrated, and unable to find Honeycomb himself, they would resort to attacking his family to send a message, and what happened next would go down as one of the most brutal instances of violence I have ever covered. At around 6 PM on February the 17th, 2021, a group of armed assailants would pull up to the Happy Hill neighborhood, driving up to the 700 block of Dr. Thomas Avenue North, stopping at the Lewis household, the very same house where Honeycomb Brazy had grown up most of his childhood. And this is also where his grandparents from his mother's side, Tony and Layla Lewis, still resided. There, this crew of shooters would begin firing into the house indiscriminately, with the neighbors later recalling hearing as many as 100 shots fired. And firing 100 rounds indiscriminately into an occupied home is bad enough already, but what came next shocked everyone, because then the residents of Happy Hill would hear a large explosion, after which the Lewis residents would be seen engulfed in flames. And in the immediate aftermath, one of the witnesses would record the burning house, streaming the chilling scene on Facebook Live for the whole world to see. One lady, allegedly Brazy's mother, could be seen screaming in shock and repeating the phrase, "Lord, why?" over and over again.
Lord, how much?
That's so sad, bro. Just, I guess how the street works, man. They try to get the person they really want, but they can't, so they get frustrated. And they want to kill the people around them all the time. These dumbass niggas killed his grandparents. Like, are you serious, bro? What like, killed his grandparents, and grandparents have nothing to do with nothing, bro. Like, this one thing about this is just sad, bro. That's just sad, bro.
Lord, no. Lord, no. Lord, have mercy. This is crazy, man. No. Hey, you got a live wire down there too, sir. A live wire. Oh my God, Lord.
That is sad, bro. Parents shot up, house set on fire. You never know. Probably if the house was never got on fire, they probably could have survived. But that's both of the grandparents, man. That is RP to them, and that is so sad. And it's just
man, see about your mama, man. Lord, have mercy. No, Lord, no. This ain't the way, Lord.
After the flames subsided, the authorities would find remains of the bodies of both of Honeycomb Brazy's grandparents inside, and soon the Fox 10 News would be reporting on this tragic incident.
Breaking now, a gut-wrenching scene in the Happy Hill community. An elderly couple dead after their home explodes.
The couple's death now being investigated as a homicide. That's according to MPD.
So let me just have you take a look at the wreckage here from the scene. Neighbors said that they heard multiple gunshots, and the agents from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives are also investigating. 2 people were found dead in a burning home Wednesday night. Family members identified them as Tony and Layla Lewis, a couple that had lived on Dr. Thomas Avenue for decades. They are the grandparents of rapper Honeycomb Brazy. Frederick Allison, a cousin of Layla Lewis, lives several houses down the street. He says he heard gunshots and an explosion.
I heard a couple gunshots and I heard a big boom. And when we heard the boom, we tried to go down there, open the door. I mean, get to the door.
But Allison says the house was fully engulfed by that time.
They were good people, man. They didn't deserve it.
The aftermath is devastating. The Lewis home completely gone. And the house next door, which also caught fire, is now unlivable.
NBC 15 News would also report on a vigil held in the aftermath as locals struggled to process this devastating news.
The community came together tonight to honor them with a candlelight vigil. Family and friends say Leila and Tony Lewis will be deeply missed, and they want justice and answers.
I know Jesus. Jesus, he will fix it. Oh, after a while.
Friends and family of Leila and Phi-head Tony Lewis are mourning tonight after the couple was found dead after their home burned down on Dr. Thomas Avenue just days ago.
Even though this happened the way it happened, it warms my heart that they was together.
The Lewises were dedicated members of Pine Grove AME Church.
Good-hearted, gold-hearted people, like some of the coolest, most welcoming people you could ever meet. Sweet, 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 sweet people.
And they were an essential, irreplaceable part of the Happy Hill community.
The investigation would eventually determine that the initial shooting is what killed Brazy's grandfather, while Brazy's grandmother was later determined to have been killed as a result of the fire as it spread at a rapid rate, trapping her inside the property. There were first rumors spreading that gunmen had purposely set the house on fire, which even Honeycomb Brazy himself would refute in a social media post, explaining how his grandparents had been experiencing breathing complications from COVID-19 and therefore had oxygen tanks in the house, tanks which these bullets would ultimately end up hitting, exploding at least one that would then cause a chain reaction, leaving the entire house engulfed in flames. James. Brazy, who was out of town during this incident, would also pay tribute to his grandparents on Instagram soon after finding out about this tragic scene, as well as acknowledging how his grandparents had indeed died due to getting caught up in his beef in the streets. And he would go on to say how he had begged his grandparents to move out of his childhood home, but they had apparently refused, telling him, if it's our time, it's our time. Brazy would also criticize the Mobile police for
What? They said if it's our time, it's our time. That is so sad, man. That is so sad, man.
Seemingly attempting to immediately interrogate him in order to find out more information about the motives behind these murders, with all of this coming at a time when Brazy was simply trying to mourn this enormous loss. And he would go on to imply that he was looking for the offenders who did it himself and hoping to put money on their heads, just like they had done to him. Brazy would go on to make another post saying that he hadn't eaten or slept since getting the tragic news, also commenting on fans who were seemingly telling him to give his ops a taste of their own medicine and kill their families, with Brazy saying that unlike his enemies, he could never do anything to innocent people like the elderly or children. A few weeks after the tragic events, Brazy's grandparents were laid to rest, and footage from the funeral service was shared on social media, showing Brazy with his family and his RN4L partners, as well as his industry friends like Baton Rouge rapper Tech, wearing all white, while traveling to the cemetery in a large convoy where Brazy and his friends would carry the caskets to their final resting place. Tech would later describe the funeral during an interview, explaining how Brazy's grandparents had been superstars in their neighborhood.
You did go to Brazy's grandparents' funeral, and when I went back and I watched, man, how many cars was that? Like, it was a lot of cars. You like the whole Mobile, more people. Yeah, you didn't think that many people was in Mobile.
Yeah, but his family, like his grandpa and grandmother, like they, like neighborhood superstars out there too. You know what I'm saying? Like they had so much love that I seen out there that wasn't even their family. Like after the funeral, they had a little block party in their projects and shit. And it was so many motherfuckers out there. Like the whole was packed. The whole, like you couldn't even move nowhere. Everybody shoulder to shoulder in that bitch. And it was just all for the love of his grandma and grandpa. Not even because he honeycomb, you know what I'm saying?
Having been raised by his grandparents, Brazy would understandably be hit extremely hard by this loss. Not only had they raised him like their own son, but they were now taken away as direct retaliation for his antics in the streets. About a week after the incident, Brazy would announce that he had changed his rap name to Nate Dogg Brazy in honor of his grandparents, who had apparently given him this nickname derived from the legendary 90s West Coast G-Funk singer Nate Dogg. However, Brazy would eventually return to his old artist name Honeycomb Brazy, likely due to legal issues that would eventually force him to once again start his career all over. As time went by, Honeycomb Brazy would use his music as an outlet to open up about his feelings following the death of his grandparents, like his November 2023 song Letter to God that dropped with a music video that now stands at over 3 million views. And in the song, Brazy admits that losing his grandparents was the worst pain he'd ever felt, and while in the video, he can be seen standing outside the ruins of the house that he grew up in, where his grandparents were ultimately killed, a charred husk of a property which is adorned with a handwritten sign saying that they will never forget February the 17th. Brazy also begins the song literally asking God why his grandparents had to die, but at this point in 2023, Brazy's question was merely figurative because law enforcement had indeed already solved the case. In fact, the case was practically solved in real time, because what the people responsible didn't know at the time was that their every move was already being followed by federal investigators from day one, who had been investigating a major drug dealing operation in the city. In February 2022, almost exactly 1 year after the double murder, the police would charge 4 people in connection to the murders of Brazy's grandparents. One of these people would turn
Of course it was him.
out to indeed be Darren D.D. Southall himself, who was reportedly given 35 years in connection with his drug empire, as was reported in a breaking news update on Fox 10 News.
Major breaking news. 4 men now named in the murder in the deaths of rapper Honeycomb Brazy's grandparents last year, a year and a day after the crime. One of those men is Darren Southall, who admitted to running a large-scale drug operation along the Gulf Coast. A federal judge earlier today sentencing him to 35 years in prison in the case.
Darren Southall may be spending more than 3 decades behind bars on that federal drug charge, but his legal problems, well, they're just starting. Now, earlier today, as you mentioned, he was sentenced on that drug case. Southall is also charged today with the murder of Tony and Leila Lewis. 3 alleged accomplices also facing murder charges. They are Terrence Watkins, Jamarcus Chambers, and a 4th man who has not been identified. The killings occurred in February 2021 when gunmen fired repeatedly into the victim's home on Dr. Thomas Drive in the Happy Hill community. An ensuing explosion and fire burned down the home and a next-door house. Mobile County Assistant District Attorney Attorney Louis Walker says he can't go into details about the allegations at this time, but says that the charges represent a major breakthrough.
We're very grateful at the District Attorney's Office to be able to, at this point, make and approve charges and to, in light of the Mobile Police Department's hard work and investigation, to hold those responsible for this double murder to be held responsible under the law.
Now, it was obvious to anybody who had been following the beef closely that Southall had gone after Brazy's family after all the failed attempts on his life, but the full picture that the investigators and prosecutors have since formed about the incident paints a much more complex picture of events. One of the main suspects in the murder plot was in fact another rapper from Mobile named YSD Cap, real name Terrence Santez Malik Watkins, who Brazy had most famously dissed in his Gucci Mane-inspired track, The Truth. According to the investigators, YSD Cap would contact Southall only a few hours before the murders, telling him that he had everything lined up, as well as saying that he was about to go kill everybody and that he had scoped out the neighborhood beforehand, and he was apparently planning on knocking on the door to make sure residents of the house were home before returning with guns. GPS data would even place Watkins, aka YSD Cap, within a mile of the Lewis residence at the time of the shooting. But perhaps the most shocking fact about YSD Cap, who is allegedly Dee Dee Southall's nephew, is that in 2019, he and Stank's brother, fellow Mobile rapper Johnny B, had filmed a music video for a diss song towards Honeycomb Brazy, aptly named Not Brazy, which was filmed directly in front of Brazy's grandparents' home, the very same house that Cap would end up shooting and blowing up years later.
Are you serious?
And in several parts of this video, Honeycomb Brazy's grandfather can even be seen walking on the porch of the house, likely concerned about this weird activity taking place in front of his home. I mean, really?
What? The whole time, that's the
shooting and blowing up years later. And in several parts of this video, Honeycomb Brazy's grandfather can even be seen walking on the porch of the house, likely concerned about this weird activity taking place in front of his home. I mean, really think about this for a second. Cap filmed this video in front of the house he would later blow up, and in the video, he included the very man that he would kill in that house. Now, if this isn't the ultimate in self-incrimination, I don't know what is. But the beef between YSD Cap and Honeycomb Brazy has a long history far beyond what the fans could ever know. The beef likely began after the choosing of sides that followed the death of Stank, with Cap, who also hails from Happy Hill, choosing the side of Stank's family, including Dee Dee Southall, who he would eventually also begin to work for as a large-scale drug dealer as part of Southall's massive dope stealing operation. In his 2019 music video for the song Talkin' 'Bout, Cap can even be seen posting up with Southall, which viewers would also note, commenting that this is his uncle that put money on Honeycomb Brazy's head. Southall and Cap can also be seen together in many social media posts. Cap can be seen at Stank's gravesite together with Johnny B in several music videos, including for a song that was named after Stank's other nickname, Gunna, a track called Gunna Street Dreamer. And in the music video for a song called Still My Dog, Cap can be seen with Stank's family members singing Happy Birthday on Stank, aka Gunna's birthday, with the video also showing family members wearing custom tribute shirts for Stank. However, the beef has much more layers than just the death of Stank, as it also likely relates to Stank's brother Johnny B, who raps together with Cap on the Brazy diss song Not Brazy. Johnny B himself has dissed Honeycomb Brazy numerous times on social media following Stank's death. For example, when someone close to Brazy was killed, Johnny would seemingly imply how it made him smile, knowing that he died the same way as Stank. Then, a few months before YSD Cap and Johnny would drop their song dissing Honeycomb Brazy, Johnny would seemingly describe the music video shoot, referring to the fact that they shot part of the video in front of Brazy's grandparents' house, even saying that next time they're going to shoot a video in front of Brazy's mother's house. Now, this post sounds particularly ominous given the fact that Brazy's mother's house had also been shot up at least once, as Brazy would mention in a 2018 Facebook post. And more unfortunately, her home would be shot up many more times afterwards, as she would tell NBC 15 News in 2021 after the murder of Brazy's grandparents.
A crime alert tonight. Terrifying moments for people on Clark Street in Mobile.
Certain that fired on people's moms and grandparents, like, just because you can't get the person, that means you want to go shoot up their mom's house. Like, come on now.
As they wake up to gunfire in the middle of the night.
NBC 15's Andrea Ramey obtained the surveillance footage there that captured the sound of those shots. Andrea, you've learned this shooting may be connected to Mobile rapper Honeycomb Brazy.
Yeah, that's right. And you may recall that homicide detectives are currently investigating the deaths of his grandparents that happened back in February. Now the rapper's mother believes that she was the target of last night's shooting. In this surveillance footage NBC 15 News obtained, you hear 5 shots fired on Clark Street at 2 in the morning.
They came back.
They keep shooting up your home.
And I don't even live here because I had to leave because of that, but them fresh bullets.
Tanisha Jones believes her home was the target. She wasn't home when the shots were fired, but had been at the home yesterday and believes people saw her there.
They shot it up again. I can tell. I came here yesterday.
And those weren't there yesterday?
Not this glass, none of that.
Jones says this isn't the first time her home's been shot. And how many times do you think your home has been shot at?
For sure, I know it's 3, but now I know it's 4 times.
Why do they keep targeting you?
I don't. Because they want my son, Nashawn Jones, dead.
Her son, Nashawn Jones, a local...
That's how you know. She said because they want her son dead. So they gonna shoot up her house? The nigga's not her house. Like, what?
Oh, I know it's 3, but now I know it's 4 times.
Why do they keep targeting you?
I don't. Because they want my son, Nashawn Jones, dead.
Her son, Nashawn Jones, a local rapper, is also known as Honeycomb Brazy.
I'm kind of like shaky, I'm kind of like nervous, I'm kind of like upset, and I lost everything.
YSD Cap would also make some ominous references to Brazy's mother during an Instagram live not long before his grandparents were killed, as he would first say how his mother is proud of him, but his ops can't say the same. Cap would then proceed to seemingly imitate Brazy's mother, berating Brazy for getting involved with some dangerous people. The implication being that Cap might well have had something to do with Brazy's mother's house also getting shot up.
Y'all don't know how that feel when your mama says she proud of you. See, y'all mama can't say that. She said y'all got the Taliban as a childhood. Y'all mama ain't proud of y'all. My mama proud of me. Your mama, y'all mama be telling, they mama be telling them, I don't know what you done got into, but these boys is not.
So your mama's proud of you for shooting up houses and shit like that. That's your mama's proud of you shooting up people's houses and shit like that. Wow. Right. Good parents, you know.
My mama like, I'm so proud of you, son. They mama like, boy, you need to sit your head down somewhere. My mama like, do that, son. Do that. Y'all mama like, you need to sit your head down, kill your ass. My mama like, do it. Boy, I raised a man. Tell it.
And during the same live, Cap would also accuse both Brazy and his father of snitching, while at the same time admitting that his uncle was indeed a snitch like Brazy had been saying.
And this all the big stupid who want to be Brazy doing. This all doing. He Brazy. And y'all co-sign that, and he's sitting in the corner watching everything I'm doing just like this. All right, I'm dropping down. Hey, let me tell the word they police. You tell them, boy. Some YZ, big YZ. My uncle did what he did. I still love him. I'm big YZ. It wasn't me. I ain't do it. Don't matter. But I don't think I'm supposed to beef with my uncle. Man, he'll be mad at well, he need to be mad at Ted. Get mad at his dad and stop somebody they just like. Cause his dad's name on paperwork.
Moreover, a few months after Cap and Johnny B dropped their diss song towards Brazy in 2019, Johnny would once again diss Brazy, questioning how he could have killed a real street guy like Stank, as well as describing how Brazy had killed Stank in cold blood like he never even knew him, so if anyone crosses him, he's also going to do the same to them. Unfortunately, it seems that someone may have gotten to Johnny first, because sometime after this post, something would happen that would ultimately wind him in a wheelchair, seemingly permanently. Brazy would then comment on Johnny's situation sometime before his grandparents were killed, as during a freestyle session, Brazy's friends would give him words to use in his raps, with one friend saying the word wheelchair, to which Brazy would respond by rapping, "Put a dude in a wheelchair, Johnny B know that, he's still there," a lyric which made all of his friends burst out laughing.
Headline, Brazy, wheelchair, hit a in the wheelchair, Johnny B know he's still there.
Damn, and then they sitting there recording this shit the whole time. They used to be cool with each other, but said Brazy killed Stank. But I mean, it's self-defense, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it is what it is. But them niggas not really gonna care that self-defense, you know what I'm saying? They're still their brother and stuff like that.
But what makes this particularly sad is the fact that Brazy and Johnny B were clearly close before Stank's death, which becomes obvious from the freestyle that Brazy made after those tragic events, where he specifically mentions being on the phone with Johnny when Stank came back to the girl's house. Clearly, Brazy's beef with Stank's family and people close to them ran deep and involved many more people than just D.D. Southall himself. However, the third suspect in Brazy's grandparents' murder is more surprising, a man named Jamarcus Devonta Chambers, who is better known as Project Baby Juicehead, or simply Juicehead or Juice, the former right-hand man of another famous Mobile rapper, Rilo Rodriguez, as well as being a former good friend of rapper No Cap, also from Mobile. Already, before the murders of his grandparents, Brazy had stated in his Say Cheese interview that he didn't mess with Rilo because he associates with rats, with this likely being Brazy's typical way of hinting at somebody maybe associating with D.D. Southall, as well as seemingly also being the link between Juicehead and Brazy's top op.
Rilo, he rap, he got good music and like that, but he be too many rats. Like, you know what I'm saying? I ain't talking about Lil Baby now, I'm talking about out of Mobile. Like, all them ran, so I don't... really too tough be kicking Rollo like that, you know. But he alright, but now he's tripping though.
Juicehead, who was allegedly the driver on the hit, has a controversial past from allegedly turning on No Cap in his beef with Lil Baby's 4PF crew, to becoming known amongst Mobile rap fans for popping ungodly amounts of prescription painkillers during his IG lives. Juicehead was also part of Southall's drug operation, for which he would eventually receive over a 10-year sentence in 2022. However, Juicehead's relationship with Southall was seemingly not on the best terms, as court documents would show how law enforcement actually made contact with him during their investigation into Southall's operation in late 2020, a few months before the murder of Brazy's grandparents, warning him that Southall may be planning on killing him due to some stolen drug profits. However, this is where things would get murky, as Juicehead would then allegedly inform Southall about his contact with law enforcement. And what makes this sequence of events particularly confusing is the fact that even with the knowledge that they were being investigated by the feds, both Southall and...
That's crazy. You got No Cap, Rollo. Honeycomb Brazy don't fuck with Rollo because instead of the beef he had in the streets, No Cap, we don't know what happened with No Cap, you know. So that's really crazy. If you ever think about it, that's really crazy for real though. I'm not gonna lie, y'all.
And Juicehead would then not only continue running their drug dealing operation, but they would then plan and execute the murder of Brazy's grandparents, knowing the cops were watching them. Yet things would get even more strange after the murders, as a message allegedly sent by Juicehead to Honeycomb Brazy would begin to spread online. In the alleged message, Juicehead would absurdly apologize to Brazy for taking part in the murders of his grandparents, essentially saying, "Sorry about killing your grandparents, I just wanted the money," as well as alluding to the plot by Southall to take him out as well. Brazy would then allegedly respond to this message, posting it to his story and acknowledging that Juicehead had in fact once been close to both Brazy and his grandparents who used to feed him. Essentially, Brazy rejected this apology publicly. However, this exchange would later allegedly turn out to be fake. However, Brazy would acknowledge the depth of this betrayal on his Facebook, where he would post a clip of himself freestyling in prison, alongside none other than Juicehead himself hanging out with him and even dapping him up, together with a description saying, how is it that the same people he had been with from the streets to the cell block ended up killing his grandparents? Given the magnitude of this betrayal, it's perhaps no surprise then that Juicehead has since begun seemingly cooperating with the prosecution against Southall and the other suspects. For example, allegedly telling the authorities that the shooters during the hit were YSD Cap, aka Watkins, and a fourth suspect named Patrick Lewis, who would also eventually be arrested after going on the run, as reported on Fox 10 News.
Mobile police continue searching for one of the men they say is responsible for a double murder in the city's Happy Hill community.
He would later be charged for the murders of Brazy's grandparent, as well as another young man who was killed later in 2021.
Yeah, Byron Lenise, it's a 2-for-1. 2 murder cases, 1 suspect. Police say 21-year-old Patrick Lewis is not only responsible for the Lewis's murders, but also a deadly shooting that occurred outside the shops at Bel Air. Patrick, do you have anything to say?
Why did police say you murdered his grandparents?
Did you kill Tony and Leila Lewis? What about the mall shooting? Did you kill or shoot Brian Maynard?
What do you have to say to their family?
Patrick Lewis.
I don't know, how do people sleep at night knowing they killed something like this? Now he better go to jail for the rest of his life because he, you know, so he wanna be in the streets and shit. I mean, that's what to do. Kill each other, kill on people for what? I just never understand.
There being escorted to a patrol car had nothing to say to our cameras. His arrest comes a week after 3 other people were arrested and charged with the murders of Tony and Leila Lewis. Patrick Lewis, also a suspect in this deadly shooting outside the mall. Brian Maynard found shot in the passenger seat of a vehicle and later died at the hospital back in September.
But perhaps the most interesting revelation about the case would come out during the trial, when the prosecution would claim that the murder plot against Brazy's grandparents actually stemmed from a beef between YSD Cap and a seemingly unrelated rapper hailing from Mobile, OMB Peasy, who would allegedly diss Cap or someone associated with him such as Southall on Facebook, with some news sources referring to a Facebook Live while others simply mentioning a Facebook post. This would then allegedly cause Cap to take out his anger on Brazy's grandparents due to Brazy's association with Peasy, as the two were known to be close friends, with Brazy even telling a story on Live of once saving Peasy's life in the trenches of Mobile when a group of guys were about to rob him.
Yeah, that's a real, on God, that's a real, he 100, I put up for him up, he came to them trenches on blood, I'm in that whole shooting dice, I'm shooting these up, I'm trying to some, and I got money on my head. Yeah, in Mobile, Alabama, money on my head. I'm in a dice house with like 50 on guard, and I'm knowing that money on my head, but I don't care about that because I know I'm protected by the shield. See, when you protected by the shield, you can't get killed. That's what y'all don't know. That's the secret to this. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm in that whole shooting dice on blood. I'm gonna tell you why I went up there with the cape. I'm in that whole shooting dice.
come in that hole. I hear like, but peas upstairs. But that icy too. He got that ice on, and his pocket said fat. What y'all want to do? I'm like, what? What y'all? I'm like, who upstairs? I don't know. They talking about OMB peas. I'm thinking they talking about another peas. I'm like, I know peas is staying in California. I know peas ain't down there in Mobile right now. Like, ain't no way he down here. Especially up there with.
Also, the whole time they're trying to rob OMB Peasy and Honeycomb Brazy was not rocking with that. Cause Brazy fuck with I think Peasy. That is crazy, man. They try to rob OMB Peasy and shit.
For her, I'm like, ain't no way Peas up there with her. Like, no. But this was true. You hear me? So I come, I'm like, no, that my dog. Ain't nobody finna with Peas. I grabbed the stick in my Glock. Put my Glock on my waist, grabbed my stick, and I shot upstairs where he was, knocked at the door. I had to knock about 50 times though. Like they ain't saying nothing. The whole way saying that, he ain't saying that. I know he had that whole clutching though. He was clutching when I walked in. He had that hoe in his hand. He really thought he was finna go down on blood. So it's like, I knocked at the door, boot. They won't never say nothing else. So I said my name, like, man, they Honeycomb, man, open the door. Y'all tripping. Then when they came, open the door. Fall in the hole with the stick, 100 rounds there on my mama. Like, yeah, hey boy, straight. Them niggas downstairs ain't talking about nothing. Like I'm down there with them. I'm here all night till you leave. I ain't gonna leave you on dead. I ain't gonna leave you. I ain't gonna leave you till I ain't gonna leave you till you dip on my mama. Just on the screen, I heard what the said. So ain't no way I just got down leave my dog. Like no way, yeah, on my soul.
Without knowing more specifically what exactly took place, it's hard to imagine.
See, bro, that's how you know Brazy's a solid nigga. You know what I'm saying? We run his circle. He's a solid nigga, man. You just sometimes he gotta do what he gotta do to protect himself. You know what I'm saying?
Imagine how Peasy's Facebook activity could trigger a murder plot towards Brazy's grandparents, which is why many fans have found this part of the story particularly confusing. Likely this is really a matter of what the mobile police and prosecutor are able to prove with their limited evidence received from the feds, with the information they have likely not covering the years of bad blood and violent encounters between Brazy and Southall's crew, which we've broken down in this video. With Peasy's Facebook activity at the time and Cap's reaction to that activity perhaps simply coinciding with the events that would have unfolded anyway due to this ongoing beef. But whatever the case may be, it appeared that at least for the time being, the years-long war between Southall and Honeycomb Brazy had finally come to an end, as Southall and his main associates will ultimately end up spending years, and in Southall's case, decades behind bars on the drug-dealing charges alone, with those sentences likely being a drop in the ocean compared to the sentences that await them if they're found guilty on the double murder charges of Brazy's grandparents. However, while Brazy's biggest ops would finally be off the streets of Mobile, his second biggest enemies, the Mobile police, were once again right on his heels, and only a few months after the tragic death of his grandparents, Brazy would once again find himself inside Alabama's most notorious correctional system. While Honeycomb Brazy's personal life was falling apart, his rap career was going as strong as ever, with the media attention surrounding the murder of Brazy's grandparents likely further contributing to his success in a twisted way. But this wouldn't continue for long, because Mobile police were following Brazy's every move, desperate to take him out of the streets. And unfortunately, Brazy wasn't exactly making it hard for them. As he mentioned in his 2020 Say Cheese interview, he'd been on probation ever since his first major run-in with the law as a young kid.
You wild as hell, man. No, I've been on probation ever since.
And as we know, Brazy would spend the following years going in and out of jail, always remaining on probation during his stints of freedom, stemming particularly from his 2016 gun case following the killing of Stank that threatened to put Brazy away for a whopping 15 years. And this meant that Brazy had to always abide by strict rules, such as not being around any guns, drugs, or other felons, any kind of gang-related activity, and regularly reporting in with his probation officer, as well as not ever leaving the state of Alabama. But Brazy was now an immensely popular rapper who was associating with a major record label, Rap-A-Lot Records, all the way in Houston, and who was likely getting offers to do lucrative shows and partnerships all over America. Honeycomb Brazy was living the rapper lifestyle, continuously surrounded by all the vices that come with that lifestyle, like a whole bunch of drugs, as well as an entourage full of gun-toting gangsters, ready to protect the moneymaker of the crew with serious firepower. And on the other hand, for the longest time, Brazy had been in serious danger wherever he went in Alabama, with D.D. Southall's shooters following his every step, waiting to catch him slipping, like they would end up doing several times throughout the years. And saying all of this is not to excuse Brazy for the trouble that he was getting himself into, but simply just trying to give you the full context to better understand what he was actually dealing with in this time of his life. But anyways, in May 2020, 2021, a few months after the deaths of his grandparents, the Mobile police would finally come down hard on Brazy for all of the probation violations he'd been racking up during his most recent time out of jail. And of course, they would choose the most appropriate moment to show that it was them and not Brazy who had true control over his life and career. As on Saturday, the 1st of May, Brazy was booked to perform in the city of Dothan, Alabama, about 3 hours drive east from Mobile, and it was there that the local police would come and arrest Brazy on a warrant from Mobile, with a video of the arrest being filmed by a person close to him soon hitting the internet. The video would show numerous officers and even a K9 unit at the scene, whilst Brazy, looking barely unbothered, took the arrest on the chin like another regular day at the office, with Brazy's only concern seemingly being to make sure that his money and jewelry would be taken care of. The person filming would also ask how the Dothan police know how to find him, with the officers explaining that the location was discovered through a Facebook post, showing that Brazy's online activity and the activity of those close to him were likely being continuously monitored by the Mobile police.
How y'all know where he was over here? Post stuff on Facebook. Posting locations on Facebook. Here you go, bro.
Hey, I mean, he was calm with it, you know what I'm saying? Just, he probably used to getting arrested, and he probably was right every time he do something good, or I'm gonna get famous, and police still want to get you on the passion that you did.
Why at your chain? Can't you do a show tonight?
Following Brazy's arrest, the local news were quick to report on it, highlighting his lengthy criminal record and the tragedy of his grandparents' murders that had put him on their radar, with their emphasis seemingly being on the fact that Brazy's crazy lifestyle had likely caused the attack on his loved ones.
Brazy back in jail. The arrest stopping him from taking the stage at Cloud Ultra Lounge in Dothan, where according to Eventbrite, he was supposed to perform from 7 to 11 Saturday. Brazy's cousin took his place for him that night, according to posts from the two on Instagram. Jail records indicate warrants were out for Brazy on illegal firearm and marijuana possession charges. Those charges are related to a recent grand jury indictment. Brazy's criminal history in Mobile dates all the way back to 2010. You may remember in February, his grandparents, Leila and Tony Lewis, were found dead after a house fire in the Happy Hills neighborhood. Police say someone shot into the home and ultimately ruled their deaths a homicide. Brazy admitted his lifestyle played a role in that.
Unfortunately, Alabama is one of the 8 states in the US that requires people accessing public records to actually be residents of that state. So we couldn't get our hands on Brazy's full paperwork, but according to news reports, this time around, the Mobile law enforcement had been gathering a long list of violations that Brazy had been engaging in, including failing to report his probation officer, traveling outside Alabama numerous times without permission, and other more serious offenses, one of these absurdly being the fact that Brazy had been the target of an assassination attempt soon after being released from jail last time around, during which his partners returned fire against the assailants that were trying to kill Brazy.
WKRG News 5's Nicolette Schleitzman sat down with Public Safety Director Lawrence Batiste to talk about his lengthy rap sheet. She's live here to tell us about this latest arrest.
Well, Devin, Peter, police say that the rapper, whose real name is Nashawn Jones, could face even more charges.
He doesn't have a problem posting some of his activities that he's involved in.
Jones was arrested on Sunday in Dothan on warrants to revoke his probation.
He's bragging about being in possession of firearms. He is basically traveling maybe outside of the boundaries of what his probation will allow him to do, maybe not checking in with his probation officer in the manner which he should be doing.
He was arrested back in 2016 for gun charges. As part of his probation, he cannot be around drugs, guns, certain people, and habits. Court documents detail the violations, including his connection to a shooting. Video of that incident was posted to social media. This reportedly happened 5 days after Jones was released from prison. Court documents also detail another video posted to YouTube, which appears to show Jones holding at least one gun in February of this year.
His actions and his behavior, the things that occur when he's present, oftentimes associate indiscriminate shooting either at him or him shooting at other people indiscriminately, places our community at risk.
Imagine getting locked up because someone tried to kill you. Indeed, it was this event that would seemingly end up sealing Brazy's fate, because while his lawyers would argue that all the weapons and drugs seen in Brazy's music videos and social media were...
Also, I feel like if you're in the streets, like, ain't that hard to, like, plus he got to stay in Alabama, no niggas trying to kill him, like, he can't protect himself or nothing, or else he go back to jail. Like, come on.
Merely props, the judge would argue that the shooting incident showed that Brazy was indeed violating the terms of his parole, and the judge would send Brazy back to serve the rest of his original sentence, which meant 13.5 years behind bars in the Alabama prison system.
At 10, a Mobile rapper is going back to prison just a few hours ago. A judge revoking probation for Honeycomb Brazy.
The decision comes more than a month after a hearing for the rapper, whose real name is Nashawn Jones.
Fox News' Shelby Myers joining us here in studio with the very latest on this. And Shelby, it looks like Jones is going back to prison for a long time.
Yeah, it does, Byron and Lenise. Jones only served 18 months of a 15-year sentence on a gun charge. But the DA's office telling me about an hour ago that he'll now have to finish that original 15-year sentence. It's due in part to more guns. It's back to prison for local rapper Honeycomb Brazy. The rapper, whose real name is Nashawn Jones, was on probation after a conviction on a charge of being a felon in possession of a firearm. In a June 16th hearing, prosecutors asked the judge to send him back to prison for violating the terms of that probation. They presented 15 video clips showing Jones with guns or drugs, saying he didn't show up for much of his meetings with his probation officer, and also said Jones admitted to using drugs while on probation. The defense argued that the guns and drugs in the videos were stage props for music videos. Even if true, the judge wrote in his order, that does not explain a shootout that the defendant was present for in Montgomery that was caught on surveillance video at a barbershop. The documents say Jones associated.
I mean, he's in the streets. That was before they know he has beef and they know his ops. How can he control whether he gets shot or not? Like, bro, what are these niggas? What are they talking about? He can't control if he gets shot or not. Like, what?
Associates traded gunfire with unknown assailants, and Jones later posted an account of the incident on social media. When prosecutors accused Jones of failing to check in with his probation officer, the defendant implied that he ignored the orders to report because he feared his life was in danger following the killing of his grandparents, Tony and Layla Lewis.
As already mentioned at the beginning of the video, Alabama's prison system is one of, if not the most dangerous in America, but the violence is only one of the many issues plaguing these state prisons. In 2019, after an investigation into Alabama state prisons was carried out by the Department of Justice, a report was released that deemed the conduct inside these prisons lacking so severely and on so many levels that it constituted a severe breach of the prisoners' constitutional rights.
Officials in Alabama have until next week to improve safety throughout the state's troubled prison system. The Justice Department demanded an overhaul after an investigation found conditions unconstitutional, violating the 8th Amendment protections against cruel and unusual punishment.
These are just some of the 2,600 photographs taken inside Alabama's prisons. Images of horrid conditions, inmates who were killed by another prisoner's hand or their own. State prison officials say there are approximately 1,400 officers, about half of what's needed to oversee a prison population of 16,000. The Southern Poverty Law Center has sued the Alabama Department of Corrections. A federal judge is forcing the prison system to make changes. And like the courts, the DOJ has issued an ultimatum of its own: change or be forced to comply.
On the other hand, as we've seen throughout the video, some of the prisoners in Alabama are seemingly living the good life, relatively speaking, of course, with some convicts there eating restaurant-quality meals, as well as smoking that good and sipping the finest codeine concoctions, all while dripped out in the latest designer fashion from the comfort of their cell. However, the other side of that is, of course, the deeply entrenched corruption that allows the prisoners with money to get their hands on pretty much anything they desire behind the wall. Local news has reported how numerous correctional officers have been arrested for committing crimes such as smuggling narcotics and weapons inside. And while it's often money that drives that corruption, there's also other components, with one of these being the centuries-long culture of white supremacy and racism that arguably still permeate many aspects of life in Alabama, but particularly the prison system. Now, things might have been alright for Honeycomb Brazy while he was still mainly just a street dude with some money and a father who was well known and respected within the prison system, but now Brazy had become an Alabama icon and was truly a famous rapper in his city, which meant that the corruption that was once seemingly serving him relatively well was now turning against him, as the prison staff were likely looking to show him that while on the outside he might be somebody special, inside the prison walls, it was them that had all the power. Moreover,
that's the one thing, y'all. They sit there and abuse their power because they can. And that's some bitch shit. If you want to abuse your power just to show somebody that you have power over them, like, come on now.
Brazy was not just in any prison, but arguably in one of the worst, the infamous Limestone Correctional Facility, which is the largest of the 5 maximum security prisons in the state.
Honeycomb Brazy, whose real name is Nashawn Jones, is locked up in the penitentiary tonight. He's serving time in the Limestone Correctional Center on a gun charge. This is his most recent prison mugshot. He's been in and out of jail or prison for most of his adult life. In May, Jones was booked in Metro for violating his probation stemming from a shootout the rapper was involved in just days before his grandparents' murder.
And according to an outcry by a former correctional officer from Limestone in 2022, the prison had gotten completely out of control during the preceding years.
We begin with the 13-year veteran of the Alabama Department of Corrections breaking his silence. The officer resigning from a career he used to be proud of, but not anymore. The state's largest prison is in crisis. Critical staffing problems, security lapses, and violence and death on the rise.
That officer, now former officer, walking away, said he couldn't stand by any longer watching this crisis firsthand inside this prison, and he says the mistreatment of inmates and those officers tonight. He says our reporting through sources on the inside is just the tip of the iceberg, and things are continuing to get worse, to the point that he walked away without the other job offer.
DOC right now has done really nothing because everybody's in shock, man. They don't know what to do. They can't pay people enough money to come into the prison. They can't pay them enough to stay in the prison. They don't have any people. Should have already issued an order and brought the National Guard in.
And he says he knows that things can be run right here at Limestone. He was here for years while they were operating normally, and he says in the last couple of years everything has changed, and he did not see any hope in the future if he would have stayed.
And after landing at Limestone in late 2021, Brazy too would take to his social media to raise alarm about his treatment inside, claiming in an Instagram post that he actually feared for his life and had been subject to many forms of abuse and racial hatred, even saying that he believed the correctional officers there might end up killing him and that he was ready to crash out on them. And just when it looked like things couldn't be getting worse for him, another major tragedy would strike as his little brother, Lil Brazy, real name Lamyron Vale, or just Myron, who can be seen hanging out in the back of Brazy's 2022 Say Cheese interview, would tragically lose a battle against cancer, passing away in early 2022, being laid to rest in a ceremony attended and posted by his closest family. Like Brazy, Lamyron had been in trouble with the law since a young age, with footage of—
Damn, bro. I thought he was going to say he got gunned down by you know what I'm saying, about the beef because of Brazy. The whole time he had R.I.P. man. R.I.P. man. That's just sad for real.
one of his arrests circulating online.
Why did I like I said? You love your mother. What happened yesterday? Did you shoot? I didn't shoot nobody. Who shot him? Who shot him? You don't know? Were you there?
Anything else you want to say to your family?
Do you see how they asking him, oh, did you shoot him? Oh, was you there? Like,
He'd also been fighting cancer for several years, as can be seen from a video that Brazy would shoot in the aftermath of the failed attempt on his life in November 2020, where his brother had actually been one of the people in his entourage who fearlessly jumped out the car and shot back despite his poor health.
You got what you say, Byron? If my little brother got cancer, my little brother out here fight. It's on your head, man. This shit for real. My little brother fighting cancer out there. I got my little brother with me fighting cancer. Y'all gonna play with me while my little brother with me fighting cancer? This is stupid. Man, Lord, man.
However, at least according to their mother, it seems that his passing finally in 2022 may be at least partially another example of the brutal conditions within the Alabama correctional system, with their mum sharing a post blaming the jail for letting him die in a cell with stage 4 cancer. Brazy, who usually appeared to be mentally unbreakable after everything he had gone through during his tough life, seemed to have finally been broken by the combination of the prison's conditions and the tragic loss of his brother, as Brazy would take to Instagram after having had a video taken down to let his fans know that he was truly at his wit's end and that he didn't care about anything anymore. Brazy would also share numerous tributes on Facebook to his younger brother, as well as opening up about people around him being fake and not going to his brother's funeral or participating in paying the costs, while they had showed up to see him for the last time whilst he was still alive, wearing all their best clothes like it was a fashion show. Brazy would also reveal that he had tried to bury his brother with his own jewelry, but this was seemingly not allowed. Brazy was clearly going through it during this time, showing how he believed that most people in his shoes would have taken themselves out after taking all the losses that he had, but still promising promising that no matter what, he wasn't going to give up on life after all he'd gone through. And then, in April 2022, Brazy would make what he called his last Facebook post ever, where he implied that while everybody was counting him out now, he would eventually pop back out on top, and that everybody would try and come back, but it would be too late, as he had already moved on to bigger and better things. Indeed, after this, Brazy would seemingly go on radio silence for over a year on his Facebook, but eventually, in November 2023, as if he had predicted his future, Brazy would indeed get back out and immediately go straight back to the top of the rap game.
Okay. It's crazy. He gets out, then he goes back and he gets out. Just like he's trying to do better, but
to the shock of many, in mid-November 2023, after having served about 2.5 years of his 13.5-year sentence, Honeycomb Brazy was once again released early. Alabama's most dangerous rapper was back on the streets, and the buzz around his name was major. And soon, fans would get their first glimpse of the freshly released street star, with a much slimmer and sharper-looking Brazy wearing an ankle monitor, hopping out of a police car to greet his friends and family.
Yeah, what up, man? Yeah! Don't do that! Don't do that! Let his ass out. Yeah! Oh, got this. Hey, bro. What happened?
We got this, man. They the freedom, baby. What up?
Brazy would then almost immediately go live on Instagram to officially announce his return to his fans. However, Brazy's newfound freedom would get off to a rough start, as only a few days later he would be arrested yet again, with this newest charge being much more out of the ordinary, as he was apparently accused of indecent exposure to a corrections officer, with this crime allegedly taking place while he had still been locked up. However, the arrest was short-lived, and only half an hour after turning himself in, Brazy would pay the bond and get right back out again.
Mobile rapper Honeycomb Brazy has been arrested for indecent exposure. Deputies say Brazy was arrested on marijuana charges back in 2021. While in custody, deputies say Brazy exposed himself to a corrections officer. He turned himself in today and was released on bond a half hour later.
Once freed, Brazy would share his future plans on an Instagram.
Y'all, that's it for part 3. I'll see you guys for part 4. That might be the last part. Yep.